Hey everyone, welcome to episode 19 of Building My Trike. I've taken it out of the fairing because it is currently complete. There is nothing else to do in vacuum forming on the bike. The only thing I've got is to do the steering mechanism. So what I've got now is I've got it disassembled and I've got it ready to paint. So tomorrow, or hopefully sometime this week, I'm going to put an undercoat on it and give it a coat of paint so the inside of a bike looks sort of like the same as my Streamliner does. So like make it a little bit fancy, but the reason being is because the resin is not UV proof and eventually it will yellow, so it will degrade with UV. So I want to protect that, so I want to give it a coat of paint. So I figured why not paint it something cool. So I'm going to go with purple, but it should go good with the blue foam that I'm going to put on the back of the seat and the pink outside of the bike. I'm going to use the orange vinyl tape to mask off around where the windows have been attached as well. So I reckon that'll look pretty good. So I'm just about to put a coat of primer on the bike. I've got it in the garage, got a string line going from one corner of a roller door to the other, and I've got it suspended in midair just so I can get all the angles, get underneath with the air gun, and do the bike in one hit so I don't have to put it on the table and then flip it over again. So I'm going to give it a coat of paint, leave it for a little bit, and then give it a coat of undercoat, leave it for a bit, and then give it a coat of paint. Maybe do another coat of paint depending on how dark it is, and then put a coat of 2-pack clear sealer. So I didn't have enough purple to finish the bike, so I mixed in the blue off my old Streamliner, and it's turned out horrible. Get it out in the sun. I don't like it. It's like a grey blue. So I'm going to put some New Holland Tractor Blue, which is a darker blue, and just make my own concoction and see what it turns out like. So I'm going to put a little bit in at a time so it doesn't overpower it, and just mix it up and see what I come up with. But fingers crossed it comes out something decent. Well, I just had enough paint to do the bike. I did the most important parts first, which was like the side of the bike down here, the front, and the boom. And then I saved the last bits of it for inside here and on the bottom. Just touching up all the bits that I might have missed. Don't mind the colour actually, considering it was just a mix together of whatever I had left over. All finished with the clear coat. I made a little bit more than I needed so I could go over in pretty much all the places on a second layer just to thicken it up a bit. So now I'll just let it dry. I think that's a pool. Yeah, it's been dripping. Oh well. Yeah, quite happy with it. I clear coated the inside of here as well, just so I can wipe down grease and stuff quite easy. But time to let it dry and then put all the parts back on it. The blue next to the pink and orange with the fairing looks quite good, I reckon. Good contrast. And it looks a lot better in the light than it did in the dark garage. It is now time to touch up the fairing, sand all the bits of body filler, sand all the bits of fluffy Kevlar that have poked through when I drilled a hole in it, and clean up all the bits of wax that were left over from the infusion in preparation for painting. The fairing is finished with the sanding and now it's ready for painting. So I just finished bagging and masking all the areas that I don't want to be painted, like where the Velcro is attached, on the wheel fairings and down the front there, and then the carbon I will spray with just the undercoat and probably this bit and that bit down there. And these extra bits that I'm going to paint, I've done the same too, just masked off where I don't want it to be painted. So that's ready for Friday, for when I have my day off work, and I'll do some painting. And then tomorrow I'm going to be laying the carbon on these and doing a vacuum bag of that. I've started reassembling the bike again, putting a brake on, the railer. I put the intermediate gears in under the bottom. I won't show you that because I'll have to flip it over. And the shoulder bolts in here, ready to go, nice and strong. And can't wait to put the steerer bar in so I can actually test out the steering. I've also put Loctite on the bolts that hold the drum brake in, so now I have to measure up how I'm going to mount the brake and then get some brake cable and brake line and brake levers tomorrow. It goes in there somehow, I'm not even sure how it goes in. Something like that, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Thank you. So I've just done the steering. The full lock was catching on the tie rods, so I had to do a little bit of modification, grinding and whatnot to get it to work, but this thing can pull some serious G's, I tell you what. And once these bearings are properly secured and I don't get all this flop, it's going to be a serious weapon. The steering's very heavy, which is what I wanted. I didn't want some like dodgy play in the steering. I didn't want it flopping around. I didn't want it when I rode the bike in Mount Gambier, the Velomobile, it wasn't the most secure steering. It kept wanting to steer left and right, where this one is self-steering at like some serious speed. So all to do with the geometry, I think, thanks to Jeff and his great designing of the G-Trike matrix. So the full lock that I was saying, where it was hitting, is just there. So you can see on the tie rod where it's hit there. But based on the radius that I just rode around the cul-de-sac, I think full lock in the streamliner is probably going to be like a couple of mil off that. So now all I have to do is make a new one of these bearing things up, because the bearings didn't fit properly, and glue it in. This isn't quite round, so I might have to sand that down a bit to get the brake levers to slip on, but yeah, start wiring it up and take it for a test drive. Just finished applying the clear coat. Got a few runs, not too worried about that. Very shiny, looks very fast. So I did the top and then flipped it and then did the bottom of it. Can't wait to see it fully assembled. I also touched up here where I had to fill in the holes for where I misdrilled it. So I can put the hinge on and put the hood on now. So I've installed the bike into the fairing, put some grip tape on, and sort of started mocking up where the handlebar, where the brake levers and gear shifter are going to go. They're sort of just clearing, but I'm not sure where I'm going to put my hydraulic one on this side. So I'll figure that out when I get to it, I guess. I can put it here and have it sort of sitting off to the side and have the cable running up and over like I've got the brake cable. Yeah, I'll see how that feels, but there's not much room. So I reckon this will do, because I'm not going to use it as like a high force brake. It'll sort of just be like feathering it, and Note to self, don't squeeze this because there is hydraulic fluid in it and it shot up and went everywhere. I just did a test fit with the hood on and this sort of hits on the side window, so it's going to create a lot of scratches on that and probably a lot of noise and vibration. But that's the compromise you have to do when you're just designing from scratch. Because I didn't really have a design in mind and I'm sort of just winging it, I'm going to have to work something out, figure something out, but see how we go. I might be able to like tuck my arm in like that. Don't know, not really sure yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. It's a minor inconvenience. The steering was a bigger issue the other day than anything else. Like the way the wires are run is pretty much nothing. Like I'm hardly ever going to go full lock, so the movement back and forth with the brake lever touching on the wheel fairing, it's not going to be too much of an issue. I also have to figure out where I'm going to put the indicator buttons and the batteries. Yet to decide on that as well, but we will figure it out as we go. I'll probably just have a switch on the side because like when you're going to turn a corner, it's going to be well in advance and you can just like reach down, flick a switch, and once you get around the corner, so what if it's on for another 5 seconds before you reach back and flick it back off? I just installed the screen on the bike. I've got one 3mm screw here just to line it up and then a pen mark so I know exactly where to line it up on the side, and then just Velcro holding it on along the edge. And then I don't think I'll bother trying to melt that because I'll probably ruin it, especially now that I've taken the plastic off. I don't want to ruin the perfect clarity of the screen, so I'll just leave it as it is. So I'll just put some tape around here. It'll look crap, but who cares? Not too fussed, but I'm stoked on that. It should come off easy, just one bolt at the top and then Velcro off. So I've just got to be careful now that I don't scratch it because I still need to get in and wire up the indicators and the horn at the front. Well, that's it for this week's episode. There is not much to go on the bike. I was hoping to get out and put the chain in and give it a run today, but as it always is, it's raining again. We've already had a year's rainfall and it's not even halfway through the year. Yeah, I was going to put the derailleur on and put the chain on and give it a test run, but unfortunately not today. But next week I'll be taking it out for a run. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.